Create a new artboard that is 1080 by 1080. Then what we're going to do is create a rectangle, and we're going to click it in the top left and move to the bottom right hand corner. And we can check in our properties panel to make sure that it's at 1080 by 1080. I can use my selection tool. If it's off by a couple of pixels, we can use our aligned artboard to center it horizontally and vertically. We're going to turn the stroke off. We don't want any stroke at all. And we're going to start off by making it a solid color. But if you wanted to make a gradient fill where you're transitioning from one color to the next, we can go to Reset Essentials Classic, and we can look at our gradient tool that is on the right here. So I'm going to click on this, and you're going to see that I have a couple of presets right here. I'm going to choose the white and black preset, and you're going to see that it transitions from white to black. This color right here, if I double click on it, will give me a color palette. I'm going to click on the swatch right here, and I'm going to click on, let's go with this yellow color right here, and I'm going to click on this color twice. I'm going to click on this color orange right here. So you can see that I've created a gradient. If you don't like the colors that you have selected, you can click on the color palette right here, and you can choose other colors. But for our purposes today, I'm going to go with this gold and yellow sort of color. If you look right here at the type, this is a linear gradient where it transitions from left to right, or linearly. If you click right here, this is a radial gradient, and you can see right here that it's going to transition from the middle outward like a circle, or radially. On my toolbar over here, I'm going to switch back to the linear gradient. There is a gradient tool, and you see that this line is helping us visualize the transition from one color to the next, or from one color stop to the next. If I click and drag my line right here, I can change the distance of the gradient as well as the angle of the gradient. So I can make it transition from the bottom left to the top right. I could go up and down. If I hold the shift key, it's going to snap in increments of 45 degrees, like so. And I find that a subtle change in color is better than a drastic change in color. If I wanted to add an additional color stop, I could click right here, and you'll see that it created it automatically, so visually there's no difference. But if I double click right here, you can see, I'm going to make it pretty drastic. I can transition between more than two colors. I can add as many different color stops as I want. If I want to get rid of a color stop, then I can click right here and get rid of it. I'm going to keep my design like this, and I'm going to go to my layers panel now, and I'm going to drop this down and lock this layer. The next thing I'm going to do is go to my polygon tool, and I'm going to click and drag, but press the down arrow on my keyboard so that I have 3, like so. And you'll see that it inherits the color fill that I had before, which was this gradient. I feel like this is a little bit too dramatic, so I'm going to click on my gradient tool, and I'm going to spread it out a little bit, I think like this. So you see I still have the gradient, but it's a little bit more subtle, like so. All right, now we're going to adjust the transparency. This is how much you can see through it. Right now, the transparency is set to 100%. I'm sorry, the opacity is set to 100%. Opacity is the opposite of transparent. It's 0% transparent. What I'm going to do is I'm going to lower this to 50%. So you'll see that I can see through it a little bit more. That'll become more apparent when I duplicate it. So I'm going to click and press Option and drag like so. So now I have 2, now I have 3, now I have 4. And what this is doing, by using transparency, I create a sense of depth where it looks like I can reach into this image. I'm then going to rotate these while holding shift. You see that's going to snap to increments of 45-degree angles. And what we're going to do is create a geometric abstract. Right? So we're not really trying to create anything specific, but rather create these forms that create something that is visually appealing, similar to our monochromatic abstract that we created earlier in the semester. And the challenge here is to make adjustments such that it feels balanced and that it feels right, but also creates a sense of depth and perhaps even movement, which is what we can achieve with this principle of design that is transparency. All right, so take some time and continue to create your geometric abstract. When you're done, save it as an AI file and submit it to Google Classroom. Last note is make sure that you don't have the same angle over and over again, or else it's going to feel too repetitive and won't necessarily feel random and chaotic, unless of course that is what you are going for. But for my purposes, I want it to feel a little bit more chaotic and random, so I'm going to make sure that the angle of each triangle is a little bit different. All right, best of luck to you. Here we go.